SEC Championship, number 14, LSU versus number 1, Georgia.
Georgia is right now ranked number 1. Even though you could make an argument for Michigan to be ranked number 1, I think that at this point, as the defending champ, as the best team over the last 31 games in all of college football, they're 30-1, by the way, in the last 31 games. That's the best in the country. This team in this game is dangerous. Why is that? Well, you could make an argument that this is the exact scenario as last year, going to the playoff regardless. And they went out and threw out their worst performance of the year, gave up over 40 points to Alabama. And that's true, but that game is also in the back of their mind. You really think Kirby Smart is not hammering this team all week long with that score against Bama in this game? Let me tell you a quick story. In 2004, the team I played on, which was not a great team, but we were a gritty team, ends up winning the Big 12 North and facing a very good, undefeated Oklahoma team in the Big 12 title. This is Jason White's Oklahoma team. Adrian Peterson is a true freshman. This is a really good Oklahoma team. It just so happened that the year prior, Oklahoma, as one of the best teams in the country, which was going to be in the BCS National Championship game, probably regardless of if they beat Kansas State or not, in the same location in Kansas City, lost to Darren Sproles and that Kansas State team. So they came out that next year in 2004 and whooped our butts, in large part due to the fact that they had not won that game the previous year. In fact, at the coin flip, cold night, Kansas City, field is terrible. The conditions are terrible. It's basically like dirt painted green. I walk out for the coin flip for the captains. Dan Cody, an All-American defensive end, walks out, and he was one of the most impressive defensive linemen I had seen all year long. And he's got Vaseline rubbed on his, because it's a cold night, so rubbed on his arms and everything for warmth. And I'm just like, man, like, these guys look, Adrian Peterson's warming up, right? Like they looked the part. Dan Cody walks out, and we all shake hands before the coin flip. And normally you're just like, hey, like good year, good luck, pleasantries. Dan stares me in the eyes, looks at me while shaking my hand firmly, and says, "Stay safe." I was like, wait a second. What? This isn't going to end well for us. Sure enough, first third down of the game, this dude hits me so hard. And it's cold. So the pads in my helmet are basically frozen. He hits me so hard. Lights go out for a moment. I'm skidding on my back on the green dirt. And then he's face mask to face mask with me, and he's just growling. And I was like, oh my gosh. Needless to say, they were motivated not by playing us in that game, but by the loss the previous year. That's what I think is going to happen with Georgia this year. They're going to be motivated by losing last year to Alabama. It's a big deal to hoist the SEC Championship trophy, right? It just means more down there. Well, they didn't get to do that last year, even though they were national champs, and I think that they're going to try to right that wrong this year. Remember, they've only lost one game in the last 31 games, and it was a game in which Jamison Williams and John Mechie, even though Mechie was, I believe, hurt in the game, they went off. Well, LSU doesn't have that dynamic passing game to get them out of the run box to threaten the safeties. So when you look at this, like, Georgia's going to win the game. It's just a matter of if they're going to cover the 18.5. I think that they will. Why do I think that they will? Well, it's not that I don't think LSU isn't a decent team. I'm just going to lay something out for you where their win against Alabama is the outlier, okay? This LSU team has done the following this year. They lost to Florida State in the opening week. They lost at home to Tennessee by 27. They lost to A&M by 15. They beat Auburn and Arkansas by a combined 7 points. Oh, then they beat Alabama. So which one is the outlier? Well, which one are you? You see, I actually revert back to the mean. So to me, you're more the team that lost to FSU and Tennessee and A&M and beat Auburn and Arkansas by 7 combined. Like this is not a great matchup for LSU. I don't think they're a great team. I think they struck lightning in a bottle on one night and beat Alabama. And by the way, this Alabama team is not nearly what they have been during the course of Nick Saban's run. So maybe LSU is a little overrated. Maybe they're a little, high on the horse, if you will. Now you're going to face a motivated Georgia team that didn't win this game this last season against Alabama. You know what I'm telling you? Georgia covering the 18.5. I think that they're going big, and I think that they beat LSU handily. All right, final one.
ACC Championship. Number 23, North Carolina versus number 9, Clemson.
North Carolina coming off back-to-back losses. Clemson's favored by 7.5. This game has no bearing whatsoever on the playoff, and none of them really do outside of USC, but this one not even close. And the best part about this game is going to be able, I guess, watch Drake May. He's fabulous. I love Drake May. UNC, North Carolina, dead last in scoring defense in the ACC, but they are first in scoring offense. Clemson's got to figure out their quarterback position. DJ Uiagalelei is like, I'm sorry, I don't see it. He's way too inconsistent for you to try to be a top 10 team, a top 5 team, really. Because that's where they have been throughout Dabo's tenure. So, like, to get back there, they've got to figure out the quarterback play. Just to give you a sense of these two teams, let me just run down their year like I did with LSU. These two teams played one-possession games this year with Wake Forest, Florida State, Syracuse, App State, Georgia State, Miami, Duke, and Virginia. They lost to Notre Dame, South Carolina, Georgia Tech, and NC State. These are not very good teams. Okay? North Carolina coming off back-to-back losses. Only reason I would watch this game, I guess, is Drake May, right? They're going to hand out an ACC title at the end of this. The ACC is so clearly the worst Power 5 conference this year. I'm not saying that every year or over the course of a decade. I'm just saying this year, and this championship game proves it. Clemson's favored by 7.5. To be honest, I'm not sure. I think I would take North Carolina, right? I would take the 7.5 and take North Carolina in that game just because I really think Drake May is outstanding.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you enjoy that clip, make sure you click subscribe somewhere down here. From game highlights to exclusive interviews and rankings, we've got everything you need as a college football fan right here, College Football on Fox.